thank you guys for the sponsorship of this event. It's great to have Bloomberg as a partner for it. You've already got an incredibly strong position in the data for this market. What are you hoping to get out of being here today?
For us, it's mainly being part of that community. And I will say, we came back into the ECB, I should say, thanks to Sven, who renewed our membership 2 years ago. And I'm pleased and honored that all of you have been making us feel really welcome. Yeah, Luca Bertolo said yesterday at the end of our academy sessions, Bloomberg is an ideal partner for the ECBC. Because together, we can achieve, that view that we always have been aspiring to make the market more transparent, to offer additional data sets, to show also our customers what they need to see on the Bloomberg terminal.
And that those data sets and how you identify covered bonds is quite interesting. I mean, what do you have that's specific to covered bonds that makes it very different from any other type of bonds?
I mean, we have a quite a rich data set around the cover pool, around the collateral behind those bonds. So we have that linkage, bond to pool and pool to bonds, and issuers to their pools. And so whenever you bring up a bond on the terminal, you get additional information on the collateral. You get the description: is it a mortgage or a public sector covered bond or so you get some sort of taxonomy behind. Yeah.
And I suppose the ability to compare it to other ones with that identity, and the things that Rene, you were talking about yesterday.
I mean, the topic of relative value. I mean, when I do presentations, I'm covering the DACH markets, and literally in every presentation there is the topic coming up: relative value. How do we look at the market? Where are the levels, covereds versus seniors, and so on? It's almost a daily effort that our Bloomberg users are also undertaking on the Bloomberg terminal. We've been developing, I would say, even neutrally, objectively, very strong tools in that respect. And to then understand which bonds am I comparing, we need these strong data sets behind to actually also drill down, is it a social a sustainable bond? Is it a green bond? Yeah, so we've got numerous, and these are all under the remit of Sven's team. We've got numerous flags and data points that help our users identify to make sure, are we actually comparing apples with apples.
And the searchability is very important, that you can search for characters of a covered bond and you get the universe you were looking for. Yeah.
Relative value, in particular, between covered bonds and other asset classes, whether it be SSAs or senior unsecured, is one of the really hot topics at the moment with the changes in curves. But another one of the hot topics, and there's no right or wrong answer about this, is the definition of covered bonds. There are ESNs, if you want to call it that, backed by loans to small and medium-sized enterprises. How do you define what a covered bond is? It is a hot topic, a controversial topic.
I mean, we don't want to reinvent the wheel or so. So we look what is out there. I mean, obviously the HGT ECBC gives good taxonomy, what is a covered bond or not. But then we also try to implement like our view on things. So, for example, is covered doesn't includes regulated and structured covered bonds. So they need to hit the criteria, dual recourse, reporting of pools, definition of a pool, and so on. So we actually have some covered bonds on our system which are not regulated by legislation, and also are in terms of collateral types outside the standard collateral. So for example, like car leasings could be one example, or the more recent French issues end of last year, where it's consumer leasing programs. Yeah.
I guess ultimately it's about transparency for that, so that people can make their own decision on their terminal.
Yeah. I think investors are interested to know what is in the entire space, and obviously you want to make your decision. I only want to invest in regulated ones, or what else is out there, and compare and make my research on it. What is the collateral basis behind, or so? Can I invest in this or not? Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier about your global identifier project. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was about? And
I think, and thanks for asking, Richard, because last year we came to Porto, I remember, and also Reykjavik to promote the so-called FIGI. And I know there is different pronunciations out there in the market. I've already gotten used to it. Some might call it a Fiji identifier. It stands for the Bloomberg Fixed Income Global Identifier. So the BIGID. That is correct. Now I have to think myself about it. Yeah. So last year we approached the ECBC with an idea, and I think it came from you, Sven, or in collaboration. Yeah. To say you've got these cover pools out there, but at that point in time, the description of a cover pool would only be a letter string, which in today's modern world is not really convenient if you want to handle data, etc., etc. We on our side had been assigning our so-called FIGI identifiers for cover pools a long time ago already, and we proposed, why don't you adapt our assignment of the FIGI to cover pools to make or to have a unique identifier around these pools, and then to start the exercise of data, the data exercise from there, as in immediately when I've got this cover pool FIGI, I can then see which bonds were issued out of that pool, and I can link everything together. The project has been successful, I believe. I would say the FIGI was introduced as an optional field into the HTT last year. I think you told me, Sven, only the other day, even a Canadian issuer proactively added the FIGI in their HTT report. So looking around, it seems to be finding more and more adoption.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now with the HTT 25 template out, we see more and more issuers adapting to that, and which is quite good, because there was this hesitation in the beginning. It's like, oh, another identifier. I already have identifiers for my bonds. I don't need one for the pool. I know my pools. But I mean, our data set is, including old pools or not reporting pools, like 600, 400 of them are active. So it's quite a challenge to know exactly which pool you mean. And we just also need to be precise and quick. If a new bond comes, I immediately want to have the right pool associated. So that helps. And I think it resonated. We had a lot of meetings, one-to-ones, or with the ECBC workshop, with a VDP a workshop on that, and people get the message. Yeah.
It's something that came up on one of the panels earlier about people having more than one pool, more than one program. So I can see the point of confusion. So you've been here in Athens speaking to customers. Any feedback, any ideas about what the next future areas of development are going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And not only here, we also had our own event just 4 weeks ago on covered bonds in Frankfurt. And there we were particularly interested. We have a league table, which maybe doesn't play the role in the community yet, like where we would like to have it or so. So we got some really good feedback on that, how we need to adjust our league criteria to make it relevant for the community. So that was good, and we picked up on that conversation again. And one of the challenges with Bloomberg, or probably with other data providers, is getting the message out, or making people aware what data points are out there, and that's quite tricky to bring that across. So I think a major part is our terminal, the description. If people call up a bond, they want to have all the data related to that. So that's another project we're doing, to revise the description page to expose more of those data points relevant for cover pools.
If I can add to that, Richard, and that goes back what we discussed also yesterday with Luca in terms of a partnership, Bloomberg and ECBC. Bloomberg has been in the covered bond market, if you wish to say so, since ever, decades. However, we must not forget that we also need to keep up with the market and look into the future. Yeah? So there is always things that you need to improve and ensure, and that is almost a little bit, don't want to say criticism, but a reminder to us ourselves in Bloomberg as a company. We also need to be vigilant and go with the market. There is always new things that our customers would like to see, and I give you two examples, and one goes back also to your point on the data sets, which there's more and more data, keeps growing the amounts of data out there. We are looking to also revamp our description pages for covered bonds because already today Sven and his team have collected so much data points in terms of the covered pool that we don't even make them visible on the Bloomberg terminal. So many of our customers don't even know that Bloomberg has this data. So making actually that data visible is one project. The other project, and I'm mentioning that especially also in front of yourselves and the camera today, to build a little bit of pressure on our product management. We are also keen on revamping a landing page for covered bonds on Bloomberg. There is one. I will not even tell you what the mnemonic is because it's not really living up to the standard we would like to have it at, but that is another project. Get a landing page for covered bonds out, looking at league table criteria, and thirdly, revamping also our description pages for covered bonds.
Great. I'm looking forward to seeing all of those developments. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.